Roosevelt will also venture into Latin America. We had seen McKinley get involved in Latin America, and here's Roosevelt. In 1902, Venezuela defaults on its debt to European bankers. The United Kingdom, Italy, and Germany blockade Venezuela because Venezuela is not paying their debt anymore. Germans actually fire on a Venezuelan port, and Roosevelt sends the American Navy down to chase off the European blockade. He justifies this through the Monroe Doctrine. He says America or Europe does not have any right to get involved in Western European affairs. Now, this is an interesting use of the Monroe Doctrine because Venezuela owes them money. It's not like they were just coming over here for conquest or something. Roosevelt then issues what's called the Roosevelt Corollary to the Monroe Doctrine. And he says that not only is Europe not allowed in this half of the world, but he says that America can intervene in any Western Hemisphere nation's domestic affairs in order to maintain stability. In 1903, the new government of the Dominican Republic is $22 million in debt. And so the United States seizes control of the ports in the Dominican Republic with our military, and we give 45% of the income from customs to the government of the Dominican Republic and 55% to the countries it owes money to. We did this for 30 years. If you can imagine how we might feel if somebody came and seized control of our ports and started forcing us to pay all our debts. But this is how Roosevelt sees America's role in the West. Nicaragua was Roosevelt's first choice to build this great canal because Nicaragua is relatively flat and they would not require locks. Locks are a system designed to raise and lower the level of a ship in water. France had begun in Panama and actually gotten about 2/5 of the way done, almost halfway done. And the route was shorter. Panama is, of course, shorter than Nicaragua. And Secretary of State John Hay, began negotiating with Colombia because Colombia owned Panama. Panama was simply part of Colombia at the time. We were going to give $10 million to build a 6-mile wide stretch of the canal so we could finish this thing up. Obviously, building the canal would greatly shorten shipping times for goods coming to and leaving from America. And we will get perpetual control. We'll control the canal forever, and we'll pay $250,000 a year for rent. The Colombian Senate rejects this offer. The Colombian Senate asked Roosevelt for $20 million and for us to pay back France for what they have already built. Roosevelt isn't really interested in these sorts of negotiations, and so we take American money and we pay a French engineer to ignite a rebellion among the people in Panama against Colombia. Remember, they're part of Colombia, right? The Marines, who happen to be conveniently nearby, land almost instantly to maintain order. This is the same thing we did in Hawaii. And America instantly recognizes Panama as its own independent country. Panama immediately then turns around and says that America has permission to build the Panama Canal. Ta-da! It opens 11 years later in 1914. Now, William Howard Taft, who's going to be president after Roosevelt, of course, is not really concerned with world stability. He does not see our job as the policeman of the world. Taft sees the U.S. government's foreign policy mission as to promote private American investment in foreign nations for profit. In 1909, he supports the rebels in Nicaragua when they seize and the United States seizes the custom houses to prevent the Nicaraguan government from raising revenue to fight back against the rebels. He also secures private loans for the government the rebels establish. And this is a country, Nicaragua, is de facto run by American corporations who have interest there. The Marines suppress a rebellion for the new Nicaraguan government in 1911. Honduras is probably an even more shocking example, where Honduras is effectively run by the United Fruit Company, who of course grows bananas. And this is in fact where we get the term Banana Republic. William Howard Taft calls these policies, this using our military might to promote American corporate interest, dollar diplomacy. Wilson, who has no foreign policy experience or expertise at all, he's the president after Taft, of course, in 1912, faces the greatest challenges yet. He establishes a military-run government in the Dominican Republic in 1916, which lasts for 8 years. In 1915, when Haitians kill their president, the Marines land and run Haiti from 1915 until 1934, and America writes the Haitian Constitution. Wilson buys the Dutch West Indies to keep them out of the hands of Germany and renames them the Virgin Islands. We get a treaty from that Nicaraguan government that we established forbidding a competing canal in Nicaragua so that the U.S. will have the only canal in Central America, and also giving America the right to intervene in Nicaraguan affairs, of course, to maintain order.